Stephen, before we reflect on last night and the game and look ahead to Sunday, can we get your reaction on what Steve Clarke said at the end of his press conference last night? I presume you've seen the quote.
I only seen the interview when I got home last night. I wasn't aware of the interview or how Steve felt. He came into my room after the game and was pretty normal, and we had a beer together, talking about football in general. It never got mentioned, so I only seen it when I got home last night. But the club have made a statement on it, and it's a statement I support. We don't support any kind of unacceptable behaviour from the terraces. And that's the way it'll always be at Rangers. That's all I've got to say on it, really, because I want to talk about the football.
Yeah. If I can, before we move on, can I ask you one more? This club has had Catholic managers in the past. How do you feel when you hear songs like that sung?
Well, I've just answered that question for you, haven't I? I've just said that myself and everyone at this club doesn't support any kind of unacceptable behaviour from the terraces, and we want to try and stamp it out of the game in general. So we're always talking about the football. That's all I've got to say.
Is it taking the shine at all off the result for you?
Not for me, because I'm delighted with the players. 5-0 win. I thought we started the game very strong. I thought the atmosphere in the stadium was superb. The fans again were right behind the team. 40,000 to come out on a Wednesday night cold and get behind the team after the disappointing result of the weekend. It was the reaction I wanted. Delighted with the players, and now we want to try and take that level of performance into Hamilton.
You've said last night about there's been times where you've had a positive result, but there's no point in taking those steps forward when you go to take a step back. How, as a manager and as a squad, do you guard against that?
Well, I think that's a good challenge for myself and the players. The players are aware of that. We have improved a lot. We've worked very hard over the last 6-7 months to grow and move forward, and we've had some really good times together. Unfortunately, in amongst that, we've had some setbacks and bumps in the road, and I think the next challenge for us is, can we find that level of consistency? And for me, my job will be to try and eradicate them setbacks moving forward, because that'll give us a better chance of being successful.
You can see from last night there's obviously the quality there to beat a team come on at 5-0. Does it maybe come down to the mental aspect more for the players?
Well, I think you've got to analyse the game properly last night. Obviously, we played very well and we were in control 11v11. We took the lead and it looked as if we were going to go and build on that. But the scoreline also reflects that. Kilmarnock lost a man. So we're not naive enough to sit here and think everything was perfect last night. But I think for these players it's important that the mentality and the attitude's the same for every single game, and we go in it with that hunger and desire to win the football match. We're not good enough yet. And we haven't had enough success together for us to get complacent or think we can just turn up against certain teams, and I think that was the case against St Johnstone. So I think the players have learnt a lot in the last 4 or 5 days. I certainly have, and hopefully we can improve from doing that.
How impressed were you with Alfredo Morelos last night?
I was delighted with his performance. Obviously, he gets 4 goals. And he'll obviously, and rightly so, get the headlines on the night. But for me, I'm more happy with the level of the team's performance and the reaction from St Johnstone. I thought we were strong all over the pitch. The subs come on and contribute, and I had the luxury to obviously rest a couple with an eye on the weekend as well. So it was the perfect night for me. But yeah, I'll say it again. Alfredo's a top player. He's a young player. We've got more firepower now with Jermaine coming in. I think Jermaine's a perfect role model for Alfredo. He's only 22, he's learning the game. He's just recently become an international player, but if he can watch Jermaine on a daily basis, how he lives his life, how he goes about it, how he behaves on and off the pitch, I think Alfredo can use that to his benefit and keep improving and keep growing. But he's certainly a top talent without a shadow of a doubt, and he can go on and achieve whatever he wants to achieve if he approaches it right.
At that age, with all that potential, as you mentioned, I've heard this one in comparisons to Diego Costa in the style.
Look, I don't think it's fair on Alfredo to compare him to Diego Costa or Luis Suarez. He's Alfredo Morelos. He's a young boy. He's coming over here. He's enjoying his football. The fans love him here. We do. myself and the experienced players in the squad are trying to help him and guide him in the right way. We want him to stay here for a long time and help us to be successful, but I don't think it's fair on the kid to compare him to Diego Costa or Luis Suarez. You know, I think he deserves credit in his own right.
You must be so grateful you've got him, because goodness knows how much it would cost to go out and buy a striker of that quality and that potential in today's market.
Yeah, it'd be expensive, it'd be very expensive, and that's the reason why we've laughed at a couple of unacceptable bids or rumours that have come his way. We want him to stay here. We want him to stay here for a long time. We're grateful for all the good players we've got. We've got a good team. We're excited by what we're trying to do here. But of course it's going to take time, but we are trying to build something that is capable of challenging for success, and I think you can see that quite clearly, certainly on last night's evidence.
Do you feel that the rest of the team, because of the format he's in, do they actually get a lift out of his presence? And because he's obviously not available this weekend, is the challenge for the rest of the team to not lose that level of performance because he's not on the pitch?
No, I think the players have just got to approach the game. It's a must-win game for us. I spoke about the mentality and the attitude of the players going into every game, so it doesn't matter who's selected to play, who's available. Everyone's got to go in with the same attitude and mentality to try and win the game. Of course, you always want your best players available, and I think at times it's hit us hard when we've had suspensions to key players in big games, and that's something we want to try and eradicate moving forward. We want all our best players fit and available. Unfortunately, he's not available at the weekend, but I've got other top options as well.
How much have changed their coach since you last played them? Do you expect anything different from them?
Well, they've been playing more of a back four. Previously when we played Hamilton, they had a back five. But normally against the big teams, they seem to go to a back five. So we'll wait and see. But we'll plan for both, and we'll see what faces us. But for me, the focus has got to be on us. And we want to try and build on the positives from last night and go in with the same intensity and the same hunger to try and get the 3 points at the weekend. But it'll be a tough game. They'll be stubborn, they'll be organised. They seem to have given the new manager a reaction. So we'll certainly have respect for Hamilton at the weekend.
Jermaine, what do you make of playing alongside Alfredo Greenwood and training really? What do you see in him?
Yeah, obviously he's got huge potential, a lot of quality. He's a goal scorer. He's someone that's hungry to score goals. You can see that in training. That appetite is something that I believe that you're born with. It's not something that you can coach. He knows where to go in the box. People talk about squaring tap-ins and that, but he's been at the right place at the right time. It's like art. So much potential. He's still young. I mean, when I was I remember when I was young, and I was at West Ham, I had the likes of Les Ferdinands, Ian Wrights, and people like that to help me to progress. And obviously at this stage of my career now, hopefully I can bring something back to the younger players and try and help. Obviously, as the manager said, but huge potential, yeah, of course.
There's obviously a bit of a language barrier there, but have you spoken to him about elements of his game, and also his personality has been analysed today?
I tried to
as well.
I did a few Spanish lessons in that, but no, it's not. I mean, it's football. I mean, when you when you have that sort of quality, at times you don't even have to talk. Just have that understanding. He's a clever player. For someone that don't really speak obviously good English, he's quite vocal on the pitch, to be honest. He's a winner, he's a leader. And like I said, when you have that sort of awareness, a lot of the times it's eye contact, and you just know. But nah, he's got huge potential. How
much do you feel that the players, when he's not on the pitch, maybe need to step up and raise the level? Because obviously the 2 games he missed, there were 2 goalless draws there.
Yeah, I think you get that with not just him. Obviously the goalkeeper. It's when you're missing key players at any football club, you're going to feel it. I think that's just normal. As players, as a manager, you want your best players on the pitch to try and compete, try and win the game. When one of your best, especially your top goal scorer, if he's missing this, of course, you're going to go into it thinking, well, if he's playing, you've got more chance of winning the game. That's obvious. But I mean, it is what it is. He's had his suspensions, and when he comes back in the team, he always looks sharp and ready anyway, so it's fine.
You've been here about a month now. Anything surprise you about Scottish football?
I feel like I've been there longer. I think I've seen everything. No, it's. I mean, for me, it's just embracing it, really, taking it all in. part of the experience. Of course, every league, any league you play in, it's going to be different. I've enjoyed it. I mentioned when I first signed, I said, I'm coming into an environment where the team are playing well. People are confident. It's a massive football club, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
What do you make of? You have to deal with an artificial surface on Sunday. It's one of the major things that we keep talking about up here. As it, you've played on all sorts of pitches over the years, and I think you probably played on artificial when you were in North America as well.
Yeah.
So,
it's the same for both teams. I don't think you can ever go into games and having that sort of like mindset, because it's an excuse at the end of the day. It's the same for both teams. Yeah, the home team might be used to it a lot more than us, but at the same time, it's a pitch. There's 2 goals. You've got to go there and approach it like any other game and win the game. It's as simple as that. And we've got top players. A lot of the boys are used to it anyway. So obviously for me, I'm not used to it, but at the same time, it's not a situation where I'll say to the manager, you know what, I don't want to play this game because artificial pitch. It's a football match. You want to play every game as you can. So I look forward to it.
Was that result and performance exactly what the squad needed last night after the weekend?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. As players, you come off the pitch. You want to win every game you play. You want to not only win, but you want to, especially in front of the home fans, put in a good performance. Try and dominate the game, like we can do. And obviously, it takes a few days to sort of like get over it. I think the good thing about football, the next game comes around so quick, so it's an opportunity to get to make things right. The manager wanted a reaction. We wanted to put on a show for the fans. It was never going to be an easy game, but we made it easy with how we performed, and obviously scoring the goals was great.
Stephen, I know the players only came off the pitch about 4 hours ago, but do you have any team news ahead of the weekend?
No, we've come through okay from last night. There's no injury concerns for the weekend. At all. Obviously Alan is available now as well. Alfredo will drop out and serve his final game. So yeah, there's an opportunity for someone else up front.
how close is Murphy?
He's not as close as what maybe people are saying or the rumours. At best he might make the final few games of the season. He'll continue with his rehab. He's progressing really well. He's doing well. He's looking good. He seems to have got his smile back a bit because he's outside kicking a few balls, and he has been stuck in the gym and the physio room for a hell of a long time. So it's pleasing to see him out there and progressing in his rehab. But we're fingers crossed and hoping that he can maybe be involved for the final part of the season. We'll see.